Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the Holiday Convoy event. I want to give you guys my advice on how to get the most out of this amazing event Wargaming is putting on over the next 6 months. This is a way to earn really cool premium ships completely for free just by playing the game over the next 6 months. I am so excited. Some incredible ships like Bismarck 41. Absolutely loved that ship when it released a couple months ago. Didn't love the price. Well, now you can get it for free just by playing in this event. So exciting. There are plenty of other great options. Previous limited time steel ships like Prins Van Oranje, as well as Hoffmann. Apologies for pronunciations as always. And if you have a ton of time and in-game resources to throw at this event, you could even get one of the worst ships in the game. I consider this one as whale bait, as it is extremely expensive and not very good. But that's okay. We have other really interesting new ships to look at too, like New Jersey, Togasa, Latouche-Treville, apologies again, and Rodina. We are getting some very interesting ships that have not been announced fully yet. So you'll have to wait 109 days for these to unlock, at least as of the recording in this video. So perhaps a bit premature, but we will put these all in a tier list of which ships I think are best to get out of this Holiday Convoy event. But first I need to talk about how you get the most out of this event as far as your playtime. Holiday Convoy is all about playing 5 battles per day to get the most tokens possible. You do not need to play every single day to get some of these incredible ships, fortunately. It is 1 battle per day giving you 300 tokens, 3 battles giving you another 400, and then 5 battles total is going to give you another 500. So you get a total of 1,200 tokens a day. And if you play every single day, again, you do not have to, but if you do, you get 207,000 tokens, which is more than enough to get any one of these ships previously mentioned, except New Jersey and Kitakami. Those ones are the very, very expensive ones that you're going to need to exchange also coal, steel, or research points for. The coal is limited at 650,000 coal total, so you can get another 195,000 tokens that way. The steel and research points there are not limited at all. So as a result, the Kitakami and New Jersey, both being 540,000 and 400,000 tokens respectively, are for experienced players. Don't worry, there are great options here, even if you really haven't been playing too much and don't have a lot of resources, that you can get completely for free. And just before we get into the ships, I need to show you guys how easy it is to get these tokens. For like 15 minutes a day is all it's going to take you to get the full 1,200 Holiday Convoy tokens. It's that easy. There is no gotcha. There is no play the game for an incredibly long time or play the most frustrating game mode or anything like that. These are the missions for our Holiday Convoy tokens. 1,200 a day. All you got to do is play 5 battles in any mode. Tier 5 to super ship tier. Any mode. So if you enjoy asymmetric, if you enjoy brawls, if you're an operations enjoyer, that's awesome. You can grind these out there. However, if you don't have a lot of time, co-op, guys. They allow you to play co-op and there is no base XP requirement. So my recommendation would be is grab the fastest ship you have, like a Kleber, full send, engine boost, off spawn, go YOLO torp something, die, and go next. 5 of those shouldn't even take you 15 minutes to get you the full 1,200 tokens per day. I absolutely love that, because this could turn into an absolutely agonizing grind over 6 months. Really trying to squeeze out all the playtime out of you, but that is not the case here. It is purely click battle in any game mode. So the fastest is co-op with the speediest torp boat you have to full send it in there and go next 5 times. A special note here is that you can earn doubloons as well. It's really important if you want to get all potential total 18,000 doubloons out of this event. You need to be collecting those doubloon bundles each update. So you'll notice that 3,000 doubloons is available in each one of these updates that the Holiday Convoy will be running for, and it is locked into that update. But just keep that in mind. If you want the doubloons, you need to be collecting these each and every single update. The way this event has been designed, I don't think anyone should be expecting to get every single ship and all the doubloons out of it. This is a situation where you should pick what ship, or even maybe 2 ships, you want to go for with this event, and that is all. This is not a situation where you can get everything, because as you can see, the Bismarck 41 is 60,000 tokens, the tier 9s are 84,000, jumps up quite a lot now for the tier 10s, available for 140,000 tokens. The epic ship is this New Jersey, and then Kitakami being extremely expensive. So given we have to choose, we can't just get everything, you really need to take a look in the description of this video and go to this planner. Absolutely excellent way to plan out your holiday convoy and just get a sense for how many tokens you are going to get throughout these next 6 months and which ships are realistic to go for. I have a very basic set out here, as I want just Bismarck 41. This is the cheapest one, but just to give you a sense of what it will take, or how little potentially it will take, to get one of the most interesting, crazy powerful tier 8 brawling battleships we've seen as of late. Don't worry, I'll get into more specifics on each ship and what I think about it. I have not put in any coal. I have not put in any steel. I have not put in any research points. All I have done is said I will play 5 battles a day, 2 days a week. In this example, I am someone who is so busy during the work week that I cannot even touch a video game. Understandable, and I get a little bit of time on the weekends to play. So with that 5 battles on Saturday and Sunday each throughout this event, I am nearly getting what is required for Bismarck 41. Remember, this ship was like $150 a couple months ago if you wanted it. That is so cool. Now, that's a pretty chill grind. That is not a lot of playtime. Many of you will be playing much more. Many of you will be able to convert a lot of coal or steel or even research points into this. But just as an example, this is an exciting event for everyone, not just someone who has all the in-game resources to spend and possibly could afford even the New Jersey, for example. Again, really awesome job on this holiday convoy planner. You really should go check it out. Linked in the description down below. So let's get started with these ships, and I am going to start off with Bismarck 41. I think this has got to be one of my favorites, if not my favorite, out of this entire event. There are some very interesting new ships that I haven't played yet, okay? We haven't played these ones, so I can't tell you exactly how they are, but given the ships that are available that I have played, Bismarck 41 is so unique. Manual secondary, you get to control them. Battleship is so much fun. It's still the Bismarck that we know and sometimes enjoy, but with this special gimmick where the secondaries reach out to like 13.5 kilometers and you get to control where they go. So they actually do so much more damage because you're aiming for superstructures. It's a really, really fun battleship to run. It is great in PvE modes. It's great in PvP. It is an awesome battleship. And it is also the cheapest one that you can get out of this event. So cool. You even get an engine boost here. It feels a little bit like Scharnhorst 43 to regular Scharnhorst. Scharn 43 is just more fun than regular Scharnhorst, in my opinion. This is similar. It doesn't get the torps like a Scharn 43 would or something like that, but manual secondaries is really, really fun to play around with. And you still get a decently survivable hull. We get, of course, German superstructure weakness, but with that engine boost, it's a lot harder to hit that weak point. And while, sure, we do not have that hydro, unfortunately, assuming we're planning ahead and not just walking into common torp lanes, it's not so bad. We can play a little further back too, considering our extra range on those secondaries. So highly, highly, highly recommend Bismarck 41. Unsurprising, easy S tier, okay? And while we're here looking at this start of the tier list, yes, we're gonna put the carrier down, way down, because I don't play carriers, all right? You need to go to some other content creator to get their advice on carriers. I do not play them. And Kitakami, as already mentioned, is just pure whale bait. This is not a good ship. It is all about the torpedo power here and these single reload, okay? This is not a situation where all 40 torpedoes reload in 70 seconds, okay? No, 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 no. Each launcher on each side individually will load. So you'll load 2 launchers at a time. So it takes you around 5 minutes to fully load all of these torpedoes. That is a massive, massive downside. It is a very unique ship, okay? I will give you that. It is not very well armored. It plays like almost nothing in the game. I do not like the playstyle, okay? This is a very painful one to play. Look at this Citadel. Gigantic, okay? And there is essentially no gunpowder. You're basically a tier 4 Kuma at tier 10 as far as gunpowder goes. Maybe a little bit better reload and range, stuff like that. But it's all about the torps, and the torp power here is not even very good. Next, we're going to talk about Messina. This is a tier 9 Italian light cruiser. We don't have Italian light cruisers. It is kind of interesting as a result. This one will be available for 84,000 tokens, so still quite reasonable. Bismarck 41, Messina, Yimeng. Not too much of a grind to actually get these without even spending resources. Messina, if you remember, was only available in multi-layered loot boxes. Yeah, that was a painful way for this ship to be released. I was also not the biggest fan of it, given that Frente Gonzaga is also available at tier 9, has more DPM, better concealment, similar gimmick, where we have light cruiser style guns here with decent enough pen, solid enough DPM, but we don't have a lot of armor on this one, so we're getting overmatched in a lot of places. This one also may not have the best concealment when we're taking damage buffs. We're a damage dealer, right? So this one is going to struggle in comparison to Gonzaga as far as damage output goes, though I will say it's a lot easier to play this ship given the extra range and shell velocity on these guns compared to Gonzaga. If you're pretty good in light cruisers, I think you'll like the Gonzaga more. Unfortunately, that one's not currently available, but it has shown up in the armory through ship rotation, I believe. So you could wait for that one if you're interested in this playstyle. Messina has some incredibly powerful close-range torpedoes here, 8 kilometers. Not enough to get stealth torp going, so really for YOLO rushes with our Italian exhaust smoke, and 20,000 alpha damage is pretty funny. It's certainly not a bad ship, but it is not my favorite, and I think there are much better options for your tokens and your time commitment in this holiday convoy event. So I think it's a pretty easy middle around B tier. It's fine, in my opinion. The next one I want to talk about is Prins Van Oranje? Oranje? I know that last one's wrong. I apologize, okay? I'm bad with pronouncing these names. But this is an awesome cruiser. This one I really like. I love playing this ship. If you're at all interested in Dutch airstrikes and you wish desperately that Guden and the main line had more accurate, consistent, powerful main guns with maybe a little less power in their airstrike, that is me. I love the gun combat here, a little less of the airstrike combat. This is the ship for you. The guns on Prince are absolutely incredible. You finally get cruiser dispersion here. You get more DPM. The HE hits like an absolute truck. Insane fire chance on this HE. We have great range, great shell velocity. And if you catch someone broadside, this AP hurts a lot. It is a very enjoyable cruiser to play. At the cost of your airstrike, the reload in particular. It is a longer reload. You don't have the DPM like Guden does, especially legendary mod Guden. Although they did change that one, so maybe it's a little closer now. We also get 15 kilometers of range. Hey, there we go. Though it has much longer lead times. So actually landing the bombs with Prince is quite a bit harder because you have to do more predicting. And with that longer reload, it means that we're less focused on those airstrikes. We'll get them out when there's a good opportunity. But Prince is all about the main guns, and I love it for that. The armor here is relatively solid, at least in closer ranges. You get 40 mil upper belt, only 30 deck armor, so a lot of overmatch will get through you there. It's still a cruiser, okay? This is not a situation where the ship is going to be that tanky above water citadel as well that you have to watch out for. You can't play it like a full-on brawler, but you don't have to because the guns are great at these medium and longer ranges. Concealment here is also quite excellent. Pretty easy for me to put this one up in A tier, maybe even an S tier ship. It's just expensive, okay? 140,000 tokens starts to be much more of a commitment to get to, though consider that this was a steel will ship, like what we had with Hawaii and Bremen this previous year. Prince and Hoffmann, which we'll talk about in a second, were only available for a limited time for steel. That is a difficult resource for the vast majority of people to get. Holiday Convoy and the tokens here, anybody can grind towards it. And while this one is more of a commitment if you only have time, if you got a bit of coal or a little bit of steel, a little bit of research points to spend, Prince is one of the best tier 10s that you could go for. Yimeng is a bit of a weird one. Tier 9 Pan-Asian battleship with a consumable that is like an immunity force field to torpedoes. I do not like that sort of design. This ship has smaller caliber guns, but a little bit faster reload. And the armor here is actually not too bad. So it's pretty solid at pushing in. It's a bit of a Lenin style or Vladivostok style hull. So 40 on the deck armor, upper belt armor. It's not bad for tanking, assuming the enemy doesn't pen 40, right? Large 32 mil bow can be a little vulnerable, but notice very small superstructure. So it can push. Improved pan angles on this AP. The HE has okay alpha damage and okay fire chance. Given the reload, that is actually a pretty good option. You want to be swapping between ammo types if you do end up getting this one. The secondaries can be worth going for. They're not the best secondaries, but if they hit, they don't always have the best accuracy, but if they hit, they actually have pretty good fire chance and can light a lot of fires in combination with your main guns. The really broken part about this one is just this consumable. I do not understand why they would add something like this. Look at that cooldown time, 142.5 seconds. That almost perfectly lines up with Shima torps. So, like, if you're a designated torp boat with high damage, alpha damage torps, and you see a battleship pushing, but it's a Yimeng, it's cutting your torp alpha damage by 70% every time you launch those torpedoes. I think they sold this as a bit of an anti-CV torp tech, but carriers are just spamming planes at you, right? That is not how that worked out in practice. It is a massive, massive nerf to torp boats when you're fighting against Yimeng. It is nice when you're playing this ship, when you're pushing in, trying to brawl, and you have that ability to completely, or almost completely, remove torpedoes that catch you off guard. Though, I would say it's probably a good thing for a battleship to get punished when it's not paying attention to destroyers and where those torpedoes could be coming from. I really like that depth of the engagement that we're forced to think about in World of Warships, and having a consumable that removes that, game design-wise, I'm not a huge fan of it. For playing Yimeng, though, makes it a lot easier. Though given there are so many good ships in this event, and Yimeng is just okay, 84,000 tokens here is not too expensive. I don't think it is one worth going for, though. I would much rather go for something like a Bismarck 41 if you're wanting to save on tokens, or spend a little more and get some of these other ships that we're going to be talking about soon, and Prince as well, of course. It's fine. It's fine. It's not a bad ship. It's just not what I would be going for in this event. Unlike Hoffmann. Hoffmann, I think you should go for. This is a destroyer that makes up for a lot of the weaknesses that Elbing has, honestly. It is a very, very fun DD for 140,000 tokens. We're, of course, competing with the Prince in that scenario and a lot of these other unreleased tier 10s, but Hoffmann is good enough that it is well worth looking into. We get a 6-kilometer hydro. Isn't that spicy? On Elbing, certainly something that ship is missing. Bit clumsy, these large German destroyers can eat torps, so having the hydro is very nice for that. It also means we could start smoke pushing other destroyers. And while our AP is not quite as good as Elbing's, I believe it's in the pen angles and maybe the alpha damage too, that's a little bit lower. It's got standard AP pen angles. It still has good pen. So against broadside light cruisers and that, you're still getting those hilarious citadels. But crucially, our HE is much better on Hoffmann than it is on Elbing. So we're better into destroyers as a result, alongside having this hydro to help us out in those destroyer engagements. If you find Elbing a little hard to play on flanks where you're the only DD, but you still want that cruiser, light cruiser crushing flanking ability, Hoffmann's excellent. Hoffmann is really, really good and worth considering as a result. It even has a little bit more usable torpedoes. They don't quite have the range, but that speed is a lot nicer. I like this ship a lot. I really do. I don't play it enough, but I really like Hoffmann, and it used to be only in a limited time steel will event that not a lot of players could get access to. So I am so happy to see this one alongside Prince come back in Holiday Convoy. Unsurprisingly then, yes, goes right up into A tier right alongside Prince. These two, if you're into cruisers, if you're into destroyers, they can be exchanged with one another. They are both awesome and well worth grinding towards. All right, now we're getting into the ships that are not released yet. These ships are completely subject to change. Some of them we don't even have any stats for. I can't even show you anything about some of them. So this is pure speculation on my part. I will do my best, given the information I have right now at the very start of Holiday Convoy, to give you a little insight on whether or not it's worth waiting for these to become available, or if you have the points already, get and enjoy one of these other ships that are already available to get through Holiday Convoy. We'll start with Togasa. This is one we do have some information on. 140,000 tokens for this one. As a tier 10 battleship, that's a Japanese battleship here, these are going to be Yoshino guns, I believe. So we're getting 15 Yoshino guns, a lot of range on them. And that means it's likely, again, I don't know this for sure, haven't played the ship, but based on the stats, it's looking like an HE spammer. It's looking like a long-range HE spammer with not the best armor, 32 millimeters, 25 bow stern. The Citadel here is placed very low, perhaps even below water for most of it. Only the front part here is above water. Not a fan of that design. Does allow it to go broadside and not really get punished. But for the most part, you're going to be playing this one at range. Not a lot of HP, notably. The armor is not great, and the guns suit it to play further back, unfortunately. This is going to be mostly HE. The AP can do some good work, and I believe it has an F key that can boost the pen on that armor piercing. We also get 12-kilometer torpedoes on this one. Not the fastest battleship, only 29.5 knots base on this one. Okay rudder shift, though. And getting that D-Tech down to 12.5 looks pretty okay, but it's still not going to tank anything, right? You're playing this one mid to long range, spamming that HE. If you get the opportunity, it looks like there are some modified shells here, 28% better pen on the AP at the cost of reload time. So you get a 31-second reload when we use that. Extra bonus there to that pen might mean that you're able to pen some battleships. At 10 kilometers, Yoshino guns, assuming these are the same, I don't actually know that. They could have different characteristics in the stats that are hidden. But Yoshino guns have a decent amount of pen, 368 at 15 kilometers. That goes up to 471. So easily getting through cruisers, maybe some battleships. Not necessarily at tier 10, but maybe some tier 9s or 8s. And at 10 kilometers, we get up to 549 millimeters of pen with this F key. So it could smash some battleships here and there. And looking at the stats, it's actually exactly Yoshino dispersion as well, I believe. So that's pretty accurate for 15 guns. Maybe it'll be better than I think. Again, Togasa and the rest of these ships that I'm going to be looking at are completely subject to change. I am just speculating here, okay? This is not something I normally do, but I'm trying to do my best to give you an idea because I know a lot of you will be wondering if it's worth saving or not. Togasa, though, I don't think so, man. Unless you really enjoy backline HE spamming with a battleship, I don't think so. At least with Togasa, there was something I could show you. Rodina has literally not been shown outside of this image. We have no stats, we have no dev blogs, we have nothing. So, based on this image, looks like a Soyuz a bit, doesn't it, right? Certainly it's not a Kremlin, so maybe it's an up-tiered Soyuz with some crazy gimmick. That's probably not worth waiting for. It might be, but probably not. Assuming that gimmick is all about tankiness or brawling or anything like that, we have ships in the game like Sibir or even just straight up Kremlin is amazing at pushing in. You don't need to wait for a ship like that, given that there are so many unique ships that have very good playstyles in this event. Again, pure speculation. But I'll just throw it B tier. It could go anywhere. It could go up, it could go down. We have no idea what this one's about. And the last two are much, much more interesting. So not really interested in Rodina when the next two are also going to be available. One of them even for the same price. That being the Latouche-Treville? Apologies again on pronunciation, but this ship looks amazing. 140,000 tokens, subject to change. They could change the stats, they could completely change the way the ship plays, the gimmick, all of that. But right now, this ship looks like a tier 10 Le Havre, which if you do not remember that ship, that was an up-armored breast with a secondary gimmick. It was so much fun. We have more armor. 38 mil deck, 32 mil upper belt. That's very nice. A lot of 457 battleships. We can bounce that. Yeah, we're overmatchable bow stern. Let's check out the equipment. Do we get that F key? Yes, we do. Secondary battery reload time, minus 70%. Maximum secondary dispersion, minus 60%. HE shell pen on secondaries, plus 60%. And that's on 127s. So I would expect that 60% is getting these 127s, which are effectively Colbert guns, up to 32 mil pen. So this could be like 1 second reloading, 32 mil pen Colbert secondaries is what it looks like. They reach 12.5 kilometers, built with the flag and secondary battery mod. At least right now, again, this is all subject to change. 11.6 kilometer detect when we're running full conceal. So easily able to get in and use secondaries. You get a 20% engine boost here. Normal repairs, but with a 60-second cooldown. So that is improved over what we would normally see. 80 seconds is standard. 5 kilometer hydro here. And it looks like you're getting 305s here. Could be some solid gunpowder alongside those secondaries to pressure someone who's angled. And then when they go broadside to get away from the secondaries, the main guns could come in and smash. 20 kilometers of range is really, really nice. And 217 meter dispersion, probably battlecruiser. 12 gun battlecruiser is pretty accurate. That is pretty consistent. And yeah, I think those look like Colbert secondaries to me. I'm not sure. Looks like we got some torps here as well. Okay, the 9 kilometer torps. 17k alpha, though, is pretty good. You only get 3 of them per side. But you do get quite a few of these secondaries. Their angles might not be very good, though. Yeah, you might have to give this much broadside to fire like this secondary and this secondary. That's a lot of broadside to give. So we'll see. This, again, is subject to change, but if you're willing to wait, I think this is one worth waiting for. It looks hilarious. I mean, Le Havre is already one of the funner tier 9 brawling heavy cruisers. I love that thing. And I don't enjoy the main line. You guys know me. I am no fan of Marseille and Brest. Sometimes they work, but a lot of the times they don't. But Le Havre, I think, had a little better accuracy. Maybe it was Sigma parameter or something like that. Allowed it to be a little bit more accurate, and it crucially had the better armor. 30 millimeters of armor is what we get on the Brest, or actually 27 and 30 rather, mind you. That is a lot worse given the matchmaker that we were fighting. This ship could actually tank quite a bit, and then still had the really fun secondary F key. 70% reload, 60% dispersion, and 40% HE shell pen. Yes, that's because they got 139s on this one. That allowed it to get up to 32 millimeters of pen. Notice the reload base on these is 5.8 for Le Havre. So pretty massive buff on this F key. Le Havre already spams out secondary shells when we are running that F key. So what is Latouche gonna look like when it's like 1 or 2 second reload Colbert guns? Again, all subject to change. Again, I'm just speculating here based on the ship stats, looking at it in port here. But assuming nothing changes, guys, Latouche is looking crazy. I think that one's going to be your S tier, tier 10 ship to go after for 140,000 tokens. Yeah, Prince is awesome. Prince is amazing. Hoffmann is also amazing. I don't think Rodina or Togasa are going to be close to these 3 as far as the tier 10s to go after. And you know me, I like brawling, I like secondaries, I like Le Havre. I want to try out Latouche so badly. I can't wait for this one. And it may change. It may be worse than I'm thinking, okay? It may jump down a few tiers if it does not pan out. But man, it looks like it could be an absolute blast. And last but certainly not least, we are looking at New Jersey. Yes, the last Iowa class is here, and oh my goodness, does it look crazy powerful. Though 400,000 tokens, that's a lot, guys. That is a lot of grinding, and that is a lot of resources. And for this, I did the math. I had to go back to this convoy planner, but could I afford it? Could I afford getting New Jersey on my account? Now, I don't always play on my main account, right? I'm playing a lot of new ships. I'm often trying to play on whatever server is most populated, so I get some good full games. So I play on EU press accounts a lot. But for my account, I currently have only 220,000 coal available to me. So I'm not getting much. I have nearly 200,000 steel, so we can use a lot of that. And then I have 20,000 research points. I have like a 4x reset on the entire Harugamo line, so I could get more there if needed. And let's say I play 5 battles a day, 5 days a week. That is a lot of playtime, but that would get me there. Notably, that also includes 55,000 steel. Guys, go use this calculator. Go see for yourself. Put in your total amounts that you have. How many resources you have. If you have mods enabled, it can even show you right up here. But even if you don't have mods, you just click on the wallet here in Armory, and you can see all of the resources you have. And you'll be able to mess around with how many games you actually want to play. So if I was only able to play 3 days a week or even 4 days, let's say 3 days a week, I would need to add a bunch more steel to actually get there. Another 20k coal, and if I didn't play as much, I would still be able to get there. Fortunately, I would have enough, but that's a lot of resources to dump into one ship. That one ship, though, might just be worth it. If we look at the dev blog, we do know the stats of this ship. It is a Iowa, so not the best HP for the tier. However, you are getting Iowa dispersion, so standard battleship dispersion, 1.9 Sigma, 25-second reload, which is quite good. The shells look unchanged, and the secondaries are not particularly powerful looking either. What is going to be powerful, though, is the combat instructions. Yes. Oh, boy. 50-second duration. So with our fast reload, that's potentially 3 salvos of this, okay? This is 33% alpha damage buff. Gets you up to like 19, nearly 20k alpha damage on the main guns for AP. And a 35% dispersion buff. That, by the way, is equal to Satsuma, the super Japanese battleship, which, by the way, gets 1 salvo of that before it goes on cooldown and you have to recharge it back up again. We get 3 salvos in a row here with a little bit of AR. And you're going to charge it up by reinforcing allied ships with support consumables. What we've seen with carriers getting some support consumables is coming to some surface ships, apparently. If you give the buff to yourself, it only gives you 25% progress to this. So given how powerful these combat instructions are, I'm going to be spamming these support consumables on my teammates because I selfishly want to get this buff more often. Those support consumables look like a main gun DPM buff for 30 seconds, 12% for 30 seconds. We get 2 more buffs to provide to our teammates. One for auxiliary and torpedo armaments. That's torp tubes reload 12%, secondary reload 15%, 15% AA damage. That's questionable use, but still, it is there. Helps our teammates out. I mean, if you see a pushing Libertad or something, just give them 15% more DPM. Sounds insane. Sounds absolutely crazy. A Shimakaze on your flank? I mean, it sounds crazy. We also get a heal to give to our teammates as well. So it's ship HP, 0.33% per second, as well as a consumable cooldown time. That's pretty nice. We'll get 2 of those, 3 of the auxiliary and 3 of the gun crew assistance. Notice here that it's 50% progress for each time you support an ally with these consumables. You get 3 of them, 3 separate ones. If you off spawn use 2 of them, you have these combat instructions off spawn. I will be talking about Bungo shortly, okay? That video is probably going to be next. But having Bungo spotter and its 20% dispersion off spawn, you don't have to charge it up. You don't need to shoot your guns and let the enemy know you're there with your buff dispersion dev strike salvo ready to go, is so much more powerful even than Satsuma F-Key with its better buff, right? It's only 20% dispersion on Bungo. Satsuma's 35% dispersion equals that of what they have on New Jersey right now. We have to charge this one up by shooting a bunch of salvos. We let everyone know exactly where we are before we get this crazy salvo out. So you're telling me we get 3 salvos from stealth off spawn? That sounds ridiculous. Absolutely insane. And we'll be able to get that a total of 4 times because we have 8 consumables. Right now, again, subject to change. I think this one will change. It sounds disgusting. You get 4 activations of 3 33% alpha damage, 35% better dispersion salvos. That's 12 salvos per game with massive buffs. That sounds ridiculous to me. By the way, progress does not decay either, so there's no punishment for using 1 support consumable and not having the others available to use right away. So it feels really easy to use and get these crazy buffs. But you know, an Iowa class might need that, maybe at tier 10. I know it is a very powerful looking gimmick, but it doesn't have extra guns like going up to a Montana, extra HP, extra survivability. It does not have what we see on Wisconsin with its battle cruiser dispersion, improved healing and reload time gimmick on this one. This one also, by the way, you got to hit people with your guns, so you tell them where you are before you get the crazy bursty salvos. Having that F key charge without needing to get detected first is absolutely crazy looking. Again, with New Jersey, it is subject to change. But, I mean, between Wisconsin and New Jersey, on the stats and having not played it yet, Wisconsin is already one of the best battleships in the entire game. New Jersey might rival it, which is a little scary to think of. So, for me, New Jersey is going in A tier. Wait, what? Not S tier? Surely he's rage baiting or something. No, it's 400,000 tokens, guys. I am a very experienced player in this game, and I will be able to afford it barely. I think this is a situation where New Jersey is going to be out of reach for most people. So purely on the token cost alone, and subject to change, we don't know if New Jersey will actually arrive that crazy. I'll put it in A tier. It could pretty easily just go here though. It could easily go there, especially if you have the resources for it. New Jersey's an easy S tier to get towards, but most people don't have that resource, man. That is all the grinding plus a ton of steel, coal, research points. So I guess we'll leave it in between for now. It's definitely the one you should get if you can afford it, because I have no idea if that one will ever come back. Latouche might come back. Prince George, like, these might come back. I don't know. But New Jersey, I would assume, is going to be a very, very rare one. So that's it. That is my too early, probably, thoughts on Holiday Convoy and these 4 test ships that have not really been fully announced yet. We don't know the full stats. They're purely subject to change. Latouche looks so exciting, as does New Jersey. I'm not into Togasa's pre-kited HE spam playstyle that I think it's going to have. I don't know that for sure, but I think it would have that. Rodina, we know literally nothing outside of a picture of a Soyuz, so we're putting that in B tier. Messina, Yimeng are just okay. They're okay ships, but given the power level on display and unique playstyles on display in the rest of these ships, you shouldn't get them, in my opinion. Prins Van Oranje, as well as Hoffmann, awesome steel ships from previous years. Finally back. You can earn them for free. They are both excellent ships. If you're interested in cruisers and destroyers and you're not interested in secondary battleships, ignore Bismarck 41 and Latouche, right? If you're not interested in that playstyle, you won't play it, don't get it. Spend your tokens on something that you will play. Prince, George are awesome ships. For the cost, though, the value, Bismarck 41, easy my favorite one out of this entire Holiday Convoy. Basically, everybody who's even playing the game a little bit over the next 6 months will grind enough to get Bismarck 41. They're not quite giving it away for free, but 2 days a week of 5 battles, pretty chill grind. And of course, Independencia and Kitakami. Kitakami is just whale bait. It's a bad ship. Way too expensive, and I don't play carriers, so you're gonna have to go somewhere else to get an opinion on that one. That's gonna do it though for this early look at Holiday Convoy. I hope this helped you make a decision, or perhaps informed you that maybe I should hold on to my tokens until Latouche arrives, perhaps. Let me know in the comments down below what you're most excited for. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.